Hi for today's talk.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good to see you. How are you?
Good. Can't complain. Can't complain.
Good.
I was wondering if you were up here or if you were in Florida.
Oh, Florida. Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys coming?
No, probably not. Probably not. We've been up to Michigan 4 or 5 times since like April. So,
Oh wow.
I mean, under different circumstances, but you understand.
Yes. Yes. I should tell everybody because it's gonna start to look. It's gonna start to be noticeable. We're family. We're cousins. But Taylor and her husband Matt live in Florida. We live in Michigan, so we don't get to see each other that often.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad.
How's the
Sad.
weather in Florida? We are Florida weather right now.
Florida weather. Well, I think we switched. It's been storming here. So, yeah. Which, I mean, that's not uncommon for Florida. Florida, it definitely storms, quite frequently, but it heats up pretty quickly. So it gets
Well,
humid.
I don't want to give your weather back. I think it's 92. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hot here. It's just sticky, No one likes that. No one likes sticky weather.
Better than cold.
That's true. And gray skies. Michigan does have gray skies. Is the sky blue?
It's
Right. It is? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, good weather.
I know. I love it. Everybody's complaining. I'm like,
Yeah.
no complain. I love it. I want it to stay.
Yeah. Who's complaining? Who would complain about?
So hot.
It's pretty sticky and muggy, but
Um,
I feel like us true Michigan ganders are like, you know what, we'll take it. I like
yeah,
it.
you can appreciate it a lot more. Yeah.
Well, we went to breakfast this morning, and their air conditioning quit.
Oh,
It was warm in there, but it was great. I
yeah.
love it.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
Wahoo.
Oh. Explains a
And
little. Yeah,
yeah, they do good breakfast.
they do. They
Yeah.
do.
They do. But I want to. So we'll get started because we only have an hour, and I have a lot. We have lots to talk about.
Okay.
So, do you want to give everyone? I didn't tell you this, but do you want to give everyone a short bio about who you are, what you do?
Sure. I mean, I'm Taylor Saylor. Yes, that's my real name. You'll be surprised how many people ask that. I'm married for almost 5 years, which is also crazy. I mean, we're close to July, so coming up on August will be 5 years. I do fitness full time. I do online coaching, and I have a lot of family from both sides of the family.
And did you? So, are you doing kickboxing? Is that what it
Yeah.
is? Or
I'm doing a little bit of kickboxing now.
or
Yeah.
martial arts? Or
Yes.
martial
Yeah.
arts?
You do hold a title with the FB or IFBB.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what the abbreviations were, but
Yeah.
I feel like that is a tremendous accomplishment.
Yeah.
Your
I mean,
discipline has to be so on point.
yes. I mean, I would say it's International Federation of Bodybuilding. So, yeah, turned pro at 21, which is kind of unheard of. I mean, not completely, but it is. And honestly, I reached that goal pretty quickly. So now I'm just doing other things like kickboxing and jujitsu that, I've always wanted to do. And now I can do it relatively sooner than I thought.
That's awesome.
Well,
Yeah,
you look like you are enjoying yourself with that.
I am.
And you've got the muscles for it. You should be able to take some people down.
Yeah, it does help. It does help. I mean, strategy will come, but yeah. Right now, I'm just solely relying on strength since I have that.
Yes. So when I was doing your questions, I'll just tell you this really quick. I didn't send you this either, but I like to run. In no way, shape, or form am I even that good at it, but I do love it. And sometimes I feel like I'm going to improve my time. And I always try to have good form, whatever you do it for the glory of God. I do think of that. But when I'm running, it is the most fascinating thing to me. it all reminds me of Christianity.
Well,
Every single bit of running, the dedication, the trying to perfect my time, talking to Jesus. It's perfect time to pray.
mhm.
It's like my body's moving. I'm thankful that my body works. I mean, I could talk for an hour about how much running reminds me of Christianity. So when I went to do your questions, I'm like, that's going to be an amazing talk, because I know you're a Christian. I know how much you love Jesus, and it's got to fit. It's got to
It goes
be.
hand in hand. It does. Yeah, it does. Um, Honestly, you would be surprised with how many people, kind of bash me for standing up on stage, in minimal clothing. Like people oftentimes look down on it and say, how can you, you know, say you're a Christian and step on stage? And that to me is almost like a stab, because to me it's more than that. I mean, you step on stage for 2 to 3 minutes and you don't do it, and anyone in the industry doesn't look at you with lust. They look at you with respect because of what you just built and what you're displaying. And to me, that is a beautiful part of the journey, is what you're saying is like you work so hard day in and day out. And how can you not believe in God? Like you have to rely on him for everything. And starting off with gratitude, you have an able body. Like Tracy, you're just saying, when you're running, you feel like that's your time. And it's a beautiful thing to just have an able body. I love it. It's awesome. It fascinates me.
It is so fascinating.
It is.
Wait till you get my age. It'll blow your mind. Seriously. I think I'm out running. I'm 56. I love my age. I love my age. But I'm out there running, and I'm like, when I was having kids, I thought 56 was like old. And now it is a great age. It is an absolutely amazing age to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not old.
No.
My age is how I view it, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel your age.
Yeah. I don't feel 56. Whatever 56 feels like, I don't feel old, I guess.
That's good.
Anyways, I don't talk about me. I don't talk about you.
I'm listening.
So we'll just get started, because I do love these questions.
Okay.
For everyone to hear, for everybody to associate, where people could see themselves in it, to use you as inspiration, where we could see ourselves there. And Scripture often compares a Christian life to discipline and endurance. How has the commitment required in bodybuilding helped shape your faith in Jesus?
I would just say, honestly, this sounds cliche, but it's consistency, and humility, I would say. Because when you're, training every repetition, every correction, that's how, I mean, God looks at us, like we have to be active, right? We have to be active in the word. We have to be physically active. And you can see that all throughout, you living a healthy lifestyle, whether it's getting steps, running, doing cardio, working out. It's just, you give it time. And that's something that we have to do with Christ, is give him time. That's all he's asking for. And I noticed something, I did feel a little conviction before because I would be on autopilot for so long. And for a certain amount of time, when you're doing cardio every day, training every day, and you're doing all of these little things that add up over time, where it's like, man, I haven't gotten a break in a minute. My first thought was, man, I got to go do cardio, and I felt convicted there because I wasn't putting cardio first, but that's what I did, physically. I didn't thank God for waking me up this morning. I didn't thank God for, an able body and feeling okay, or start my day off with prayer. I ended up just going, I got to go do cardio. And so after I had that conviction on my heart, I then started, seeing God through almost everything when it came to the gym, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Sorry, I'm putting that in like so many different words. It's just so many different perspectives. I could go on and on and on about that.
Well, and we talk about the tiny little perspective changes is huge. Like you can live your life your whole way, and then someone can say something, and it changes that perspective of how you thought about one thing.
Yeah.
And then it betters you.
Yes, I agree 100%. 100%.
Well, and it's interesting that, all through the Bible, Jesus told us, the Old Testament tells us, and we can see it play out. We need to put God first. When we put God first, when He's at the top, all the goodness flows down from there.
Yeah.
And I can completely see that, what you're saying. You think that you needed to do cardio first. She needed to put God first.
Yeah.
And then the cardio will come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything, even, small things like that, like something as simple as cardio, you can see a difference between just doing cardio and starting your day off with prayer. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is a beautiful thing. My day is always better. I don't always start off with prayer and the Bible, and I should, because my days are so much better.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's true story. And, it's really crazy that God can take the simplest thing in life and He can show us Himself and attributes of Himself and how He works in these daily life activities,
Yeah, yeah.
He blows my mind constantly.
All the time. Yeah, yeah. Likewise.
He is an amazing God.
Yes.
So, bodybuilding is built on intentional nutrition. How has caring for your body changed the way you think about nourishing your soul?
Ooh, this is a good one. I know a lot about, obviously, macros, micronutrients, movement. I know all of those things. But the way you can, how can I word this in like the simplest of terms? When it comes to bodybuilding, especially competing specifically, you know what you're getting yourself into. Some people don't, some people do. But the more you do it, the more you know exactly what you're going into. And a lot of it is quote unquote starving yourself. And it sounds unhealthy, and most people kind of get scared away from that. I tend to love that because I feel God work in me the most whenever I'm dieting or whenever I am on low calorie, because in that you are sacrificing your flesh, you're sacrificing what your body wants, and that would be food. And that's exactly what fasting is. I mean, fasting, you sacrifice your flesh to let God work through you entirely. And that is, to me, very beautiful. I had a thought before where I was just so hungry. I was so hungry. I was tired, anxious. I was ready to kind of just like throw in the towel a few times. I'm just like, okay, I can quit at any moment. I can quit at any moment. And I was reminded that, God Jesus carried the cross up Calvary. He was anxious. He was allowed to be anxious. He said, Lord, take this cup from me. And I was sitting there and I'm like, actually I was doing cardio at this time. I was like, who am I to be complaining? Who am I to be, hungry? Who am I to be tired? Like who am I to be complaining right now for an hour, while I do this cardio session? Because, Jesus carried that cross. So it made what I felt was heavy, it made it so much lighter. And from there, it was a game changer. It was like, okay, now I want this. Like now I know how God can work through me. So I kind of just soaked all that up.
That's definitely a perspective change. You're making me want to perfect my rhymes.
Well,
Hey, I was on the treadmill. It works. It works.
and also I really think that as a whole,
Mhm.
we lack discipline, like truly, like as a world.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I admire about what you do is like and anyone can look at, your page and see the discipline that you possess to earn that. And I can only imagine what that did to your prayer life and your connection with Jesus and the discipline you learned from there and translate that into your relationship with Jesus. And it's really beautiful because that's what I see when I see your page. I'm like, like not everyone can do what you did.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
That's very, very cool. And it's very inspirational.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So our particular family, this little branch of the Sailors, we like to fast. I can see the benefits of fasting so clearly, but not until I started fasting could I see that sacrifice in it. It wasn't until I was actually doing the fast and being hungry that I could see how God can work in that. And fasting and feasting is all through the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows Jesus fasted for 40 days. And people do say how unhealthy it is. It is the exact opposite. Because when we're fasting, all of the damaged cells are being eliminated.
Yeah.
Our body is stopping processing food so it can address what's happening in our body.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that why you bodied up for fasting or for?
No. No, that was way before I even really studied fasting. So, I mean, over time, obviously it definitely, I learned more throughout it, but, yeah, I mean, I was going to touch on that, why fasting is so important is because you kind of give your body, scientifically a break to kind of just regroup, stop working, and start processing. So obviously, I should probably do it more on my own terms as opposed to focusing or putting it towards prep a little bit more.
Well, I think you learn you have to learn the same lessons no matter why you're doing it. I mean, hunger's still hunger.
That is true.
I actually believe that for whatever reason you are in a fasted state, it is spiritual. Whether you recognize it being spiritual or not. Because there's been times where like I have done 24 hours and it not be specifically for Jesus, but then he like fills me with something. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yes. It makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
It does.
So now I'm gonna have to fast. I'm getting inspired in every area of my life.
Me and you both.
Good. No, she's gonna fast too.
I've been trying to implement fasting back in. I used to fast every Sunday to Monday for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Every week, and then I got away from it, and I can't seem to get back to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
I know.
It's very hard to do.
It is.
And I think that's what Robin's trying to say. Whether you're doing it for Jesus, whether you're doing it for spirituality, whether you're doing it for your physical body, no matter what it is, it turns spiritual because your flesh is trying to tell you what to do.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And that is something that's very interesting is after, you fast and you know exactly what you're getting yourself into, which is typically spiritual warfare. It's it's not so amusing to want to do all the time. You know, it can definitely be a bit scary. It can be. Uh, yeah. So it doesn't
Just
sound the most fun.
seeing, yeah, and I will speak for myself. I have done extended fasts
Mhm.
and I know what it takes and I know the discipline that it does take to do extended fast.
Yeah.
And so it's like when you get back into it, it's like, oh no, I remember how hard that was, you know?
Yes, it kind of scares you a little bit.
And it's like the benefits that come out of it are so much better. It's like your
Yeah.
rebellious mind just takes over your carnal flesh, your thoughts, and it's like
Yes.
that is from hell. Like
Yeah.
just do the fast. It will
Yes.
be so like this is when you need to do it the most.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You know, I kind of want to relate that into bodybuilding as well, where when you allow yourself to pretty much argue with yourself or compromise with yourself, you end up paralyzing yourself. And that's something that, you know, I've fallen into multiple times where let's say I didn't do or I didn't want to train, I was pushing off training or I was pushing off cardio, I would I would end up just paralyzing myself because I'm going back and forth with what I want to do. I could be doing this, I could be doing this, and you know, like you end up just staying stationary. So it's almost better to just do something even with all the negative thoughts and just trying to compromise with yourself. So
Yeah.
it's just something I've learned. Just turn off the thoughts and just go.
It's been in my experience, like with fasting especially, is like I just have like I no like black or white, like nope,
Yes,
nope,
yeah.
don't even listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when your body is your life's work, the demands don't end when the day is over. How have you protected your marriage, your family, your relationship with God through it all? I mean, you're carrying your body around everywhere you go. It's your job. Your body is your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas ours, too, all of ours is we work with our body. You know, everything we do is with our body, but yours is a level of intensity that ours isn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, most people don't realize what all goes into bodybuilding. You know, you're tracking obviously everything fitness wise, but you're also tracking your stress, your sleep, your cortisol levels, you know, your weight. Like you're tracking everything that makes you a person, you're tracking it. Um, and honestly, the only answer I have for that is effort. I mean, just like uh training in the gym, you got to give it effort, finding the time. So you also have to make time when to go to the gym. I'd have to make time for Matthew. I have to make time to call my dad, to call my mom. You know, I have to make time for prayer because at the end of the day, everything's time. You know, everything revolves around time. Um, so I would just say effort and time. I mean, I want to be super fancy with that question, but I can't. You know,
Right?
it's like
That's
time
the perfect
management.
response.
That's the best way I can put it is time management. You just have to be good at it. A lot of people expect like, hopefully my clients don't end up watching this. You know, I have clients and had clients who, you know, work, they go to school, they still want to work out and they complain to me, I don't have time to do what I want to do. I don't have time to hang out with my friends. And I'm like, girl, you're not going to. You're if you're an adult and if you want to live a healthy lifestyle, most times you are and want time for yourself and your loved ones, you're not going to be getting into bed at, you know, 9 o'clock. You know, when was it? When I was getting ready for the wedding, for Matthew and I's wedding, I was going to, I'm putting Matthew on blast. I was in high school at the time. I was doing sports. I was prepping for a bodybuilding show and I was planning a wedding. I would wake up and working. I would wake up at 4 a.m. and I wouldn't get into bed until 11 p.m. You know, so throughout that process, you have to make time for what you want and you have to be very diligent with that. So, I mean, when it came to praying, when it came to getting in the word, when it came to calling my dad, calling my mom, seeing, my siblings. You just have to be diligent with it. You have to put in effort because highways work both ways. And you have to be strict with that, just like what I would do with my personal life.
I am curious about this. Do you and Matt, do you guys eat the same food? Is it even possible that you eat the same food?
Yeah, we eat the same
cycle
food.
with you with what you're.
Yeah, we eat the same food, just different amounts.
Oh, okay.
So if we want to eat ground beef together, let's call it a date. We're eating ground beef together.
Yeah. Well, I just wonder because I do all the cooking in our family, and my husband's eating what I'm making. So what I'm in the mood for is what he's going to eat too. But I do look at your food a lot, and your food sometimes is extreme. So I did wonder about that.
It's just basic foods.
Well,
very bland, very boring.
Maybe it's the amounts. Maybe it's your macro setup.
Yeah. I mean, Matthew's 2.5 times my size. I would, if he ate what I ate, he would be dead by now. If I ate what he would eat, I'd be a bowling ball. So
right. That's true. That is. I didn't think about that. No, that's good. And I think this podcast, I didn't mean for it to be, but I think it is about dedication, consistency, commitment, all of that. And God does want that from us. Yeah. Jesus said, pick up your cross daily and follow me.
Yeah. Daily means every day.
Daily. So I'm going to tell you this funny little story. We have got a couple of rock walls in our yard, and the weeds just keep on coming. And you can pull them out, and they pop themselves right back out before you can even blink. And so I don't want to do the Roundup, because we do try to live a healthy lifestyle. I don't want to hurt the planet. I don't want to hurt my pets, myself, all that. So we tried baking soda and dish soap and vinegar and all these things, and I finally got some super potent vinegar. And so I went out and I was talking to Jesus about it, and I'm like, is this going to be a one and done? Or is this finally once and for all going to get rid of these weeds? He said, no, you need to continue to do this. And it was a moment for me, because is prayer one and done? Is anything in life one and done? I mean, I think that our faith builds, but unless we continue daily in prayer and activating our faith and trusting God and talking to God and making Him the first part of our lives and the best part of our lives, it's just seemed to me that nothing about God is one and done. He wants us daily. Yeah.
I mean, I'd agree to that. That's interesting. I like that. Yeah.
And even in, back to the beginning of the conversation, God can use anything. He could use anything to teach us something meaningful, to show us a way. He showed me with vinegar and weeds.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true.
So there is a fine line between pursuing excellence and chasing perfection. How do you keep bodybuilding more of an act of worship instead of letting it become your identity?
This was something I actually had to work on. Typically things kind of come and go and you kind of just learn through the process. This one I had to learn after the process, because there were moments where, I idolized bodybuilding and, maybe was too focused on my physique as opposed to, God working through me. But it all ended up being humility. You have to humble yourself before the Lord. and that's something that I just had to learn through the process. You know, it wasn't an after the process. So like, I yeah, I would just say humility, and that sounds cliche as well, but it's just something that you just have to work on daily, just like what we've been talking about.
I don't think that's cliche at all. Matter of fact, I think the things that have become cliche, it's because they mean something. They're true, they're profound, they're foundational, they're base
Yeah,
level, and they're so good that every generation keeps bringing it forward, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. I'd agree.
I think humility
Well,
is beautiful.
and also to touch back on our previous question and looping this one in together, I feel like as an adult, when I chose for myself instead of like my parents telling me to be a Christian, all the
Yeah,
stuff, when I chose it for myself, it was really after I had Whitney, my baby, or my daughter, Whitney, but just for the sake of it,
yeah,
uh, that you live one way, and then when you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior, everything that you do is now looking through the almost like a lens of Jesus, because anything can be about Jesus. If
yeah,
you just put it into, I don't even know how to describe that, but it was like I was looking at things one way, and then when I accept Him to be my Savior for myself and I fully surrender, then in everything I saw Jesus. Like, it
yeah,
wasn't just like everything had more meaning, I guess. Like,
yeah,
anything that you did, you strive to do better because of like, your creator and your relationship with him, and everything is more intentional and
yeah,
more, you do learn how to humble yourself. You do learn how to, he teaches you some really rotten things about yourself, and he's
yeah,
like, no,
yeah,
you're not
yeah,
gonna do that,
yeah.
so um with your previous answer, humbling yourself in every situation is, that's a hard one to learn, and that's a
Yes,
hard one for you to accept that Jesus is trying to teach you.
yes, yeah, exactly. Both of those. Also, something that is hard to learn, and which is why a lot of people don't have long-term goals, is because they want instant gratification. Bodybuilding has taught me, delayed gratification, and Jesus can teach you the same thing.
Right.
And a lot of it's trust. You want to trust the process. You want to be able to trust what, your coach is telling you to do. And I kind of felt like a little bit of conviction there where it's like, which I love my coach, but I was trusting my coach more than I would trust Jesus some days. I'm like, man, putting my faith in my coach, like, man, I hope today I can get a free meal. I want some sushi or something. And not putting my faith in Jesus the same amount, just, I hope today's a good one. Hopefully it's not as hard as yesterday or something like that. So, delayed gratification is a big one. And that one reminds me of Jesus a lot. Because all throughout the Bible, you can see miracles happen, but delayed gratification as well. You see
Yeah.
delayed gratification there. So that's another one.
Yeah, I like that. I think practicing gratitude is very, very, very important as a Christian.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, the Bible says to rejoice during tribulation, and that can be a hard one,
Yes.
especially when you're in tribulation
Mm-hmm.
and you read that at the same time. That's a hard one.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you for these trials that are feeling so heavy. But again, like I said before, it's okay to feel anxious. It's okay to feel, heavy some days. Jesus felt that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the anxious part of life, I think those are moments where we can be thankful for some anxiety because it causes us to pause and look to see what's going on around us. Whereas maybe God doesn't want us running headstrong into a thing. Maybe it's time to, survey your surroundings, and get your feet steady on the ground and figure out what it is that you're doing right now. So I think anxiousness sometimes can be good for any number of situations, I don't think it should be where it becomes where you're just anxious about everything. And then Jesus said, be anxious for nothing. So I don't know.
Yeah, but don't you feel like a lot of times when you are anxious, that's when you really turn toward God?
Well, yeah.
Like he teaches you in that like the quicker you can start praying, practicing gratitude, your anxiety goes.
Well, I personally think Jesus said be anxious for nothing, and that paralyzing fear that could grip a person, and make you stop everything. I think being a little anxious about things is a different kind of a situation where it's a pause, pay attention to what's going on around me, Unknown caller. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think it can be different for everyone. I really do. I know God knows us better than we know ourselves. Mm-hmm. So I think whatever way he can get our attention, he's going to do it. And whether that's for, just a quick prayer, whether that's for a specific need that you may have or something that you are feeling anxious about. A lot of the times people feel anxious because they are separating themselves from Christ a little bit, where it does feel like the weight of the world is on their shoulders. When it is at this point, if you're not focused, if you're not casting that on Jesus, the weight of the world is on your shoulders. So remove it, cast it upon the Lord. I feel like God does do that though, where if he wants to get our attention, he will any way, shape, or form. So for some people it might be good. For others, it might feel like, it's more than anxiety.
Yeah, I do. I know exactly what you mean. And he does want us to cast our cares on him. He's so good at it. And that's an argument I have with myself a lot. Why did you suffer through this all day?
You're telling me to
to begin with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's those little things that feel like you can just do it, and then you are doing a ton of those little things, and over time you realize, man, I haven't, brought Jesus into this because I thought I could do it on my own. When it could be something as little as cooking.
Right. Yeah.
You do a ton of those little things by yourself and realize, man, I didn't bring Jesus with me here.
Yeah. That is such a true story. So God gives each of us gifts to develop. What has the pursuit of mastering your craft taught you about the heart of God and the way he shapes us?
That's a good one. Repeat the question. Repeat the question.
Okay. God gives each of us gifts to develop. What has the pursuit of mastering your craft taught you about the heart of God and the way he shapes us?
I would say through repetition and correction, because that's exactly what God does. He corrects you with many repetitions. Some may be good, some may be bad. I like to look at repetitions like days almost, where you're constantly having good days, bad days, and over time you can see how he works through you, whether he corrects you, teaches you something, shows you something, or even in your still moments. So, or your rest periods, as I would say. So I think he can teach you a lot in those moments.
Well, it seems to me that for what you do in this conversation, and what I hope people to be inspired by, is through repetition and correction, God has made you strong.
Mm-hmm.
And if we view you as a picture, in your discipline, your obedience, God's correction and repetition, you have a strong body that you can look at. You can lift much heavier things in this state than you could 5 years ago in the
Right.
state that you were in. And
Right.
it's not, I mean, I know that it's about looking at your muscles and your physique and what your body looks like after all of this training, but I think the same can be applied to a Christian. You know, the Bible talks a lot about our countenance and how we carry ourselves and what our face looks like. And is our face at peace? Is it worried? Is it anxious?
Yeah.
Is it resilient? Does it have strength? You know, any number of things can be told by looking at a person's face. And I could really, thinking about this question, I really could see it that, like with running, you know, the more you practice, the more you perfect your skills, and the more everybody can see that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's very inspirational to be able to see someone's dedication and commitment. And we think that we don't want corrected, and obedience is like, you know, such a dirty word these days. You know, don't be obedient to anybody.
Yeah.
With God, it's He requires our obedience.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we grow, is by being obedient to His corrections.
Yeah. I'd also even add in patience there. Because I know we're talking about bodybuilding, or faith, and we are noticing very similar attributes to both of these, right? Because bodybuilding, you have to have patience. Nothing's built overnight, you know. And with faith, you know, you have to be obedient, but you have to trust Him, and you have to understand it's a relationship, so nothing's going to be built overnight. It's a daily, what we also touched on, it's like a daily thing. It's a daily relationship that you have to pursue. You have to constantly pursue.
It's remarkable how many things that, and I'm not even a bodybuilder, but just in my imagination and thinking about what you've gone through and the process that I've seen you on your journey, that we could all watch, you know, through your Instagram and being in the same family together, and how easy it is to equate those attributes to growing one's faith. You know,
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like people don't look at faith as in it being like practice or, you know, stuff like that. But your faith absolutely is something that every single day you can learn and you can grow and you can learn something new and you can, you know, iron sharpens iron. So even having these talks and, you know, gleaming from other people's lives and seeing, you know, what works for them. And I mean, your faith is something every single day that is built up, you know.
Yeah.
So,
100%. And I would even like to add, when when you're doing these things, living a healthy lifestyle, and you are being diligent about everything you do, I would say it's made me more faithful, uh, because it shapes you, but over time, that's just who you're starting to become. Like that's who you are now. Uh, if you ask me to be somewhere, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be diligent, and you can trust my word. And over time, it builds you and shapes you into somebody that you can trust. And Matthew and I were just talking about this the other day. Where we would look at each other and be like, or look at ourselves rather, and be like, "You're a friend I would want." And it kind of reminded me of Jesus a little bit. Jesus is a friend. He'll stick closer than a brother. But it's something that we should all want. I know people that wouldn't want themselves as a friend, and who are we to be that type of person to ourselves? If we can't even keep a small promise to ourselves, then how can we expect other people to trust us? So overall, it's made me more faithful, but it's made me a better person and made me a lot more diligent with my time with Christ. And of course, Jesus shapes me and molds me every day. Matthew and I were just talking about how he's the potter and we're the clay, but it's just something that's always at work.
Right.
And it's something that is just beautiful because it's a story that's unfinished and will never be finished until we're there with Jesus. Yeah.
I know one thing. God is looking to build a perfect person. That is what God is about. It becomes more and more clear to me the older that I get. And that also, the I don't know what you want to call them, the phrases of today, the modern culture, you're perfect just the way you are. All of the things. You have to be rebellious. Being rebellious is what you're supposed to be. Don't be obedient. What we talked about just a few minutes ago. But is God is all about building up a perfect person. He is. And it's not to make us haughty at all. It's not to make us, perfect in the world's standards. It's to make us perfect in God's standards. And all of that is so good. It's beautiful. It's remarkable. It's profound. It's amazing. It's beauty beyond beauty. And all of that does take time. It takes patience. It takes God and us working together. We relinquish control to Him, like fasting. We're obedient, like getting up daily. It's remarkable to me how much a dedication to a physical activity reminds me so much of Christianity.
Yeah.
Brother Chuck, as we both know, he's one of our church elders, for anybody that doesn't know. He was 90 something. He could tell you the most beautiful sermon out of the Bible. It was just so beautiful. But one thing that I always loved that he said was line upon line, precept upon precept. And you have touched on it several times. How you started out isn't where you are now. Those things, you had to do these things to get to these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're still a person all the same, but your physique has changed. I can see that it's changed,
Yeah.
I love it. I love every bit of it. I can't get enough of it.
Yes, it's an awesome thing. It's an awesome thing. And honestly, I respect it because that's something that can't be given, and it reminds me of salvation. Salvation, it can be given, but you have to actively make a decision to serve Christ daily, right? You can't just put it down one moment, pick it up. You could, but I don't know. That's between you and God. That's not between you and I. But it's something that you have to actively pursue. It is. And personally, I'm a child of God first, and I want to actively pursue Jesus every day. It's the best part of my day.
He's the best person we've ever met. He's the best person any of us have ever been associated with.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's our gift to know him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a privilege. It really is. And it's a privilege to know him. It's a privilege to be able to move your body. And it's something I also wanted to add is, that's something I've been grateful for lately. Is just an able body, it's a privilege to be able to move it. It's a privilege that, I'm not hurting. And it's a privilege to be able to know Jesus. It really is.
It is. So I think we have time. Yeah, we have time for maybe a bonus question. Um,
Are you ready?
are you ready? Let's see, which one do I want to? Okay, so what would you say to the Christian who feels called to pursue excellence but worries that ambition and faith don't belong together? I feel like we've pulled this same question through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, I I don't know. I would have to hear somebody out, right? I would have to see where they feel like these things don't align, right? Now, when it comes to ambition and, their walk with Christ, I think it's a very fine line that you could, walk, and it could easily turn worldly, but it could also be for God. Now, it depends on their heart, right? If they're worried about what other people are thinking of, if they're looking for validation through the world, I think you're doing it for the wrong reasons. But for someone wanting to walk relatively the same walk, without being part of the world, I would suggest making it private. Actually, when I turned pro, the year I turned pro, I've had terrible prep experiences prior to when I turned pro, where it was just hard mentally, physically. It felt like I was a walking ball of anxiety every single day. Um, and the year I turned pro, when I was 32 weeks out, I I gave that prep to God. I was like, this one is for you. I want you to be in every part of it. And he was in every part of it. Uh, and I mean, it was the year I turned pro, but it was a personal thing for me. So I think you can walk the line of ambition and with Christ, but you have to make it personal to you, if that makes sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. I personally, for myself, I try not to put this off on anybody else because I like that you said it depends on the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Because with God, it does. It
Yeah.
truly does depend on the heart of a man.
Yeah.
And for me, it seems sometimes I've been very ambitious for things, and the ambition seems to take on a life of its own.
Yeah.
And then my point isn't God. My point is where that ambition is driving me.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know that there's a better answer than that. It depends on the heart. Really.
It
It does.
does.
Because you could be doing you could be doing whatever you're doing for accolades from the world,
Mm-hmm.
from your fellow man, or you could be working to please God,
Yeah.
be a light in a dark world.
Yeah.
It just depends on your heart and what it is that you're after, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we like to ask a golden nugget question. And this is a question that your answer is your answer. If
Mhm.
you had one piece of advice that you would tell people, and you know for a fact if they took your advice, it would improve their life, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of things I want to tell everyone, honestly. Um,
Well, tell them. Here's your platform.
oh gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm paralyzing myself right now. There, there's so many. Do what makes you happy and make sure that it revolves around Jesus. That's it. That's it. At the end of the day, if you're not doing what makes you happy and if Jesus is not a part of it, it's not going to be enjoyable. Now, let me say this too, real quick. I've been in positions in my life where I was, or I thought I would enjoy something, and maybe I did at one point, And I truly felt conviction on my heart where I'm like, I would enjoy this so much more if Jesus was a part of it. Like, I feel like I'm not being grateful enough for this. So, from my own experience, if Jesus is a part of something, it'll make an experience or an ambition so much better. It really will.
I love that answer.
Well, good. That was kind of on the spot.
I'm sorry. I should have told you. I should have told you like a golden nugget question.
It would have been cleaner.
I
It would have been
all of
cleaner.
our guests with
Yeah.
all of the information, but I didn't tell you that one. But this has been delightful.
Yeah, this has
Lovely
been fun.
conversation.
Yeah, this was fun.
Very inspirational. If people would watch this, it's been a very inspirational conversation.
Okay.
And then if they go look at all you've accomplished, I mean, you go, girl.
I feel like I'm just getting started.
Amazing. And if you look at it as line upon line, precept upon precept, and this God is building your foundation, I'm telling. Watch MMA star here soon.
Oh my God! Hey, I'm not above that.
I'll tell you. Who did we watch? It was boxing. Who was this last one? Oh, Mike Tyson. Mm-hmm. The girls first. They blew that Tyson fight out of the water.
There's some rough people out there. There are. They're only getting more challenging.
Their faces do get beat up. And you have such a cute face. Don't do that. Do something for weird now.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know if Matthew will let me.
Yeah. Well, tell Matt we said hi and we love him. We love you.
I will. We love you too.
All right. Bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah, see ya. Bye.